Barely 24 hours after Kun Khalifat withdrew from the Npfl due to the sanction by the Npfl body with 3 points, 3 goals, and of course 10 million naira. They are now back in the Npfl. They will be playing against Shooting Stars. And of course in Europe, we will be seeing Arsenal. Of course, we all know on paper, Arsenal should win this league 2025-2026 season. But anything can still happen. There is Manchester City trailing them by 6 points. And of course, this weekend, we'll be seeing Liverpool versus Manchester City. Can Real Madrid continue in this great form? Only time will tell under the tutelage of Abelua. On that note, I say welcome to Sport Talk on Enterprise TV, where sport news from the four corners of the world are delivered at its best. If you are joining for the first time, please do well to follow us across all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. My name is John Olasukomi. Join me and let's ride together. Of course, joining me virtually today is Dami Wealth, making a return back to Sport Talk. Dami Wealth, welcome to Sport Talk.
Yes, thank you very much for having me on the show this wonderful day. I mean, so many matches to be played this weekend, so many big matches in the EPL and in the other leagues as well. I can't wait to actually talk about everything. I'm ready.
I don't really understand what you meant by big games. The only as far as EPL is concerned, this weekend, the only big game that they have in the Premier League is Liverpool versus Manchester City. I don't know, Man versus Tottenham. Of course, these are mid-table team for now, for the now. But we will get there. But United only have 1-3 games under Carrick. You people think you are back. Come on, don't even talk about. Or you want to talk about Chelsea, up and down. But we'll get there.
John, I used to know you as a Manchester United supporter. But now you are beginning to change hands. Like, I don't understand. You told me you are a Manchester United fan.
Okay.
Right now, I don't know what happened because we were not doing well. You now ported. You are now telling me that you are now a Cristiano Ronaldo fan or a Juventus fan. I don't understand.
I've always been a Juventus fan. I just love watching Cristiano Ronaldo at Manchester United. Let me just make that one clear. All right, but
so you're never a United fan
at all. You know how we do it? We always start with local football. Of course, Kun Khalifat have made a U-turn on their decision to withdraw from the Nigerian Premier Football League Npfl. I don't really know what is wrong with Npfl. I've said it before. Let them scrap this league. Go for 4 or 5 years, sabbatical leave, organize yourself, come back stronger, and of course, let's run a good, or should I say, let's run a proper league. How can a team said they don't want to play, they're not part of the Npfl, and 24 hours later, they said they are back, and of course, they said they can continue. I don't really know what is going on, but that is why we have Dami Wealth here to shed more light to what is going on between Kun Khalifat and, of course, Nigerian Premier Football League. Dami Wealth, what are your thoughts on Kun Khalifat?
What really happened, yes, what really happened was that Kun Khalifat had a game against El Kanemi Warriors that they were meant to prosecute. That was last week. That should be Sunday. But Kun Khalifat said they were not going to prosecute that game because of some issues, you understand, based known to them, probably monetary and everything.
They said something about security. That is why they put something out there, a statement that Npfl does not even care about the welfare of their players, about their coaches, the technical crew. All they just want to do is just revenues. And I ask myself one question: what are they even getting in the Npfl? Come on, it's crazy. All right, go ahead.
That's the question you ask yourself, that how much are these clubs making from the Npfl? And to be honest with you, they make almost nothing. On the average, an Npfl team prosecuting 20 or 19 games in a season spends over 800 million naira in a season. You understand? They spend over 800 million naira in a season to prosecute the Npfl. And if you ask me, how much are they going to make? After spending about 800 million naira to beat the Npfl, how much are they going to make? How much is the Npfl giving them?
200 million.
How many sponsors do we have in the league? You understand? How many? I mean, you can ask so many questions. So some of these teams themselves, you can't really blame them because the league itself is not. Will I say it's not marketable? It's not marketable because it's not even on TV, which is the most important thing. It's not on TV.
I disagree with you, Dami Wealth. You know why? You know why I disagree with you? Because there was a time.
Okay.
There is this particular company that came to Nigeria. They wanted to invest because, and at the end of the day, they said some people are there. They call them kaba. That they really want to, they will embezzle the money. They had to move from Nigeria to, I think, Kenya or Zambia to go and sponsor their league. Not that the league is not marketable, but the people that are up there are the ones sitting on everything. I think that is the main reason why.
Yeah, it's a combination of different things. You understand? When I say the league is not marketable, it is the fact that, number one, the league is not on TV. Number two, there are still skirmishes of violence in some places. You understand? And number three is that the facilities in the league itself, they are not up to standard. The pitches are very bad. The stands are not so good in many of the stadiums. You can mention maybe like 3 to 5 stadiums that are good enough, but many of the other stadiums are not good enough. You understand? These are all the things that make leagues to become marketable. If you go to Tanzania, for example, if you go to South Africa, you go to Tunisia, you go to Morocco, go to Egypt,
Algeria,
you will see that facilities are
Zambia
up to par. Even Zambia, you understand, where the Power Dynamos came to defeat Rivers United not too long ago. And you mentioned the cabal. The cabal have been there in Nigerian, both political and sports for a very long time. And these cabals will not leave in as much as we are still politicizing everything. You understand? The NFF, for you to become the chairman or the president of the NFF today, it's all about politics. You can't tell me that. See, when Amaju Pinnick was the president of the NFF, there were reports, because I remember when he wanted to go for his second term, there were reports, even till date, there are still cases in court that, against the former chairman or former president of the NFF on corruption, on bribery, so many things like that. You understand? Then how do we even elect our president? Everything is all politics. So when there's politics, when there is favoritism, when there is power play in all of these things, and the government is still hands-on on the league, owning so many clubs, definitely there will be cabals. There will be people that will be that will be controlling and doing all these things, just like politics on a normal day. You understand? Whatever they say is what will happen. So these are the things that are wrong with our league. And until we do the right things, this will still continue. You see, until we fix the country itself, I don't think the league will actually get a good omen. I don't think the league will actually prosper until the country itself, starts prospering. You understand? And take out these bad eggs. So for Kun Khalifat, they know that there are consequences to this thing. They're saying that they want to beat the league and everything. They are just bragging. You understand? They're just bragging. Because if they knew, I've seen clubs that made it to the Npfl, to the NNL, the second tier of the when they made it to the NNL, and they sold their stakes because they knew that they don't have the capacity to actually run the Npfl. They don't have the capacity. So if you know that you're a private club and you want to be in the Npfl, you need to look at, do you have enough sponsors to actually lead you to the Npfl? Do you have a strategy? Do you have a structure? You understand? There was a certain Van Dreser FC then that came, they were buzzing, everything, came to they were in Lagos. Initially, when they started, they were in Lagos. Everything was going fine. At the end of the day, they were complaining on so many things. They had to move to, I think they moved to Calabar or something. Today, where's Van Dreser FC? There was Sporting Lagos who came. Where's Sporting Lagos? Where is MFM? All these are, private-owned clubs that can't sustain being in the league. And until the foundation is right, the league itself will never be stable. So it's just a pity. You know, look at Remo Stars, for example. They're going to be relegating. If care is not taken, they're going to be relegating. So we'll still be back to, you know, what it is. Rivers United that are topping the league right now and are, you know, sort of playing, you know, nonsense, basically, at the CAF Champions League. They don't even have a stadium that is worthy enough for CAF. They don't have a stadium I mean, this is Rivers United that actually won the league 2 seasons before. Don't forget, they won the league 2 seasons before with the same. No, it wasn't Finidi George then, but I think they won the league. Then just look at them right now, struggling to even, you know, hold themselves, and you know, so many things are happening in the league, and we just need to do the right thing at the end of the day. For Kun Khalifat, they don't have an excuse. It's either if they want to leave the league, they should leave the league. You know, but you can't blame the LMC. The LMC will do what the LMC normally does. There's no excuse, because if they pardon Kun Khalifat today, what about tomorrow if another club, maybe a government-owned club this time around, like Kano Pillars that are struggling for relegation, if Kano Pillars says, oh, I can't come to Lagos because I went to Uyo the last time out, I can't come to Lagos, blah, 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 blah. Then, you know, you'd have to leave them because you left Kun Khalifat. You know, there's precedence to all these things.
So, but before we leave NPFL, damn well, can't we just zone it, or let's just do like 2023 NPFL league, do an abridged format league, you know, then split them into 2, 10, 10, 10, 10, then we play off. I feel with that one we can even, you know, we can even have a proper league.
Yes. I mean, you know, I remember was it 2023 or so when this same thing happened?
Yes, of course.
You know, I was clamoring for this abridged season, but like you mentioned, the cabals and those that are actually milking money from the NPFL, they didn't go with it. Because the abridged format that we used then would have been the best. If you remember, during that abridged format, we barely had any issues.
Yes, of course.
Because nobody was planning on traveling. You know, everything was easy. Everything was actually easy. You know, that would have been the best. Zone everything. We have about, how many geopolitical? I think we have about 6 geopolitical zones in the country. You know, you can divide it. Let the Southwest play. Let the South, basically, both the Southwest, Southeast, South, let the South play. Let the Northwest play. Let the North Central, and then the Northeast, let them play. That is 4. Do you understand? So you can have 4 different formats just to, at the end of the day, whoever qualifies, they will play it is not a must we copy the European leagues. It's not a must to copy the EPL or the Spanish La Liga, you know, who we seem to have a partnership that I have not seen anything come out from. For the last time, in fact, if you want to have a partnership with any league, it is not the Spanish La Liga, because the Spanish La Liga right now is badly run. You know, it is currently one of the worst leagues, you understand, in the world, to me. It has, apart from Real Madrid and Barcelona and maybe Atletico Madrid, the other teams in the Spanish La Liga are just awash. So we shouldn't even be partnering with them. Maybe we are learning things from them. You know, let's copy like the US format, for example. They have the Eastern Conference, they have the Western Conference, you know, and they play, at the end of the day, you know, they play a playoff and stuff like that. It is not a must we copy the Spanish La Liga or the Serie A or the English Premier League. We don't have that capacity yet. These guys that we are copying have sponsors. Every of their travels, if it's too far, you know, they fly by air. And many of the times they have good road networks. They have, everything is there for them. They have trains, they can move. You know, if City wants to go to London, for example, they can go, you know, via the bus, because the road networks are very, very good. They can take any course that they want to take to, and they can also fly. They can take the fast rail too. So there are different mediums for them to do that. But in Nigeria here, we only have one major means of transportation, which is not good enough. We have insecurity issues. Since morning, I've been watching on TV how people are being killed and massacred in every part of this country, in the southwest, in the north, in the east, in every part. So we don't have the capacity right now. Let's just do the abridged format, and I think everybody will be at peace.
Yes, of course. All right. Thank you for that one. Well, let's take a look at other features this weekend, 7th February 2026. Bendel Insurance versus Enyimba. Kano Pillars, we all struggling. Remo Stars. Plateau United versus Kwara United. Ekuru City versus Niger Tornadoes. Warriors, we all Ekanemi Warriors. Abia Warriors versus Enugu Rangers. Nasarawa United versus Bayelsa. Wiki Tories versus Katsina United. Kun Khalifat versus Shooting Stars of Ibadan. All right, away from local football, let's move straight to Europe. We'll be starting with the English Premier League. Arsenal could take another giant step towards the Premier League title with victory over Sunderland on Saturday, 7th February, before Manchester City face a daunting trip to Liverpool. I think this is the best time, this is the best season for Arsenal to win this league. Damn me well. City will be traveling to Anfield to play Liverpool, and of course, Arsenal will be playing at home against Sunderland. If they get to win, 9 points. And of course, they will just be praying for, Liverpool to defeat Manchester City. Just forget about Aston Villa for now. But there is Manchester United trailing Arsenal by 12 points. On paper, anything is still possible. But let's talk about Arsenal and Manchester City. What are your thoughts? City playing away from home against Liverpool.
Well, City playing away from home against Liverpool is going to be a very tough one. No matter how you want to call Liverpool struggling, when they are playing against Manchester City, it's always, a tough nut to crack for either of them. Manchester City have not really been, on their hay game this season. They've struggled in parts. You can see the last game they played in the English Premier League against Tottenham Hotspur, going 2 goals ahead and coming back, to join that game. They could have even lost that game in the second half. So City, are having issues with momentum this season. City used to go 10, 15, sometimes 13 games unbeaten. And that's why they've been winning the league over the years. But this time around, I don't think they've done up to 5 this season, winning streak. So, and Haaland is not firing on all cylinders. It seems the midfield has to be one of their major issues as well, because sometimes you see Bernardo Silva drafted into that midfield position. Rodri is back, but Rodri is not as fast and quick. Maybe, the injury has actually slowed him down. Yes. I won't be surprised if Pep Guardiola actually sells him to either maybe Barcelona or Real Madrid, or maybe the Saudi Pro League at the end of the season. I won't be surprised. You understand? If they go for another midfielder, because it seems they are not creating enough. They are not. Look at the game they had against Manchester United. They left a lot of spaces in the midfield that United actually, used. They were so prone to counter attacks and many of the things like that. And Liverpool, you can blame Liverpool all you like. Sorry, this season, right. Liverpool have still, shown how good they are. Look at the last game they played against Newcastle United. They are beginning to get their momentum. Liverpool are a team that loves to play in transition. They are a team that, they're very quick in the attack, just like maybe an example of what United are actually doing right now. Okay. And, looking at that game between United and City, Liverpool can just borrow from their leaf and, show Manchester City what they are lacking. The only problem that Liverpool might have against City is the defense, which has been really shaken this season. Liverpool don't have a strong defense partnership between Van Dijk and Konate really been there. So that might actually be, because City have the likes of Semenyo right now. Ryan Cherki can't stop scoring or assisting. Jeremy Doku. Erling Haaland is still there. No matter how bad form that he is, he's still there and they can spring up surprises. So it's going to be a huge game. For me, it's a 50-50 game for both of them, because they all have advantages and disadvantages as it stands. But Arsenal against Sunderland. Sunderland is not going to be an easy, a game for them. There's a certain, Brian Bobry at Sunderland, who is a hard worker. He's like a beast up front, and is going to give Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes a run for their money. I'm not saying he's going to probably score them 2 or 3 or score at all, but it's going to really disturb them. And don't forget that Sunderland have been a very formidable side since this season started. So I expect a tough game for Arsenal. I don't know if Bukayo Saka is back. You know, I would have to listen
of
to.
Of course, there is no Neymar Dueke.
But there is no Neymar Dueke who actually did well in the last game with the set pieces. You know, one thing that Arsenal have done well this season is the set piece, and they can also, you know, use that to actually see out Sunderland. I expect a victory for Arsenal in that one. Then Manchester United versus Tottenham Hotspur tomorrow. I don't know if I can talk about that right now.
Of course, we will definitely talk about Carrick. Of course, as a Manchester United fan, Carrick have done well in the last 3 games, winning, and of course, United have defeated all the big guns in the EPL this season. Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester City, mentioned them, and now they'll be playing against a shaky Tottenham Hotspur at Old Trafford. Unfortunately for Manchester United, they are number 9 for me, Patrick Dogu. We'll be missing out. And of course, he's also part of the player of the month. And of course, let's see how it goes. There is still Matheus Cunha that has been doing wonderfully well. There is Ahmad, very fantastic footballer, Casemiro, and of course, playing against Tottenham, I think on paper, Man United should take this one. That means what?
Well, it's going to be not an easy game. It's going to be a very tough game for both sides, especially for Manchester United. Don't forget that this same Tottenham Hotspur defeated United 4 times in a row, not last season. And this season already, they played a draw in the first leg. We also saw how well they did against Manchester City the last time out, last week. They
both lack consistency, both Tottenham and Manchester City.
Yes.
That is why it's 50-50 game.
Definitely. You will see that. Tottenham Hotspur have a bright spark right now in Dominic Solanke. Dominic Solanke, since he came back, he's been doing well for Tottenham Hotspur. And their midfield is, a bit solid with Bissouma in there. I think Bentancur also is back. So they have a strong midfield, but maybe that is made, Xavi Simons also seems to be getting a bit of form. But I expect Manchester United to actually get a victory because United, number one, have the better squad. They don't have as many injuries as Tottenham Hotspur. And again, they play on fast breaks. Let's look at the last 3 games that United played. They've not really dominated. United have not really dominated possession. They've had probably, against Fulham, I think it was 40-60 or 40 something for United, against Arnold, against City. So they don't really dwell on having possession. They dwell on having the fast breaks, on pressing, and creating. Because Bruno Fernandes this season have 12 assists. Already. He is the best creator in the league. He can, and one thing that United have this season as well, just like Arsenal, has been the set piece. They've been scoring goals from set pieces, corner kicks, free kicks. That man, Bruno Fernandes, have been doing it. So I see a tough game, but based on the attack that United have and a bit of solidity that they have in that defense and the midfield, because Casemiro and Menu have really done well. Their partnership have been good. Casemiro making the interceptions, Menu controlling from the deep, and Bruno Fernandes spreading the passes. And the dynamism of United in attack, because when you have a Patrick Dogu, for example, Dogu plays from the left, he cuts in into the into the striking position, and he gets goals. But for Cunha, you don't know where he plays. You see him on paper.
Look at
the goals. Look at the goal he scored against Fulham. He scored it from from the right hand side of the pitch. So he's a very dynamic player that can move everywhere, and he seems to be getting form. Whenever he's on form like that, expect spark. He's got it in him. Now the conundrum will Mbeumo start or Sesko? I don't know which one that Carrick will want to go for.
Come
but
on,
the most important thing.
Let Sesko go back to the bench, I beg.
I think that's going to be the case. But United cannot win the league. I mean, don't whine us into winning the league. You said United are 12 points behind Arsenal.
Anything mathematically, that means what? Mathematically, they can still win the league. They're just 12 points, just 4 games behind Arsenal. Anything can still happen.
Mathematically they can win the league.
Okay.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
You know, first of the
you people divide for top 4 then.
And there is no guarantee that Arsenal will keep dropping points. You know, Arsenal right now, they will do everything that it takes to win the league. And I think they are on course to do that. For United, I think the best position for them to finish in this season will be probably second or third.
If you are born in 2004 and you support Arsenal, this is the first time you people will be winning English Premier League. Just so you know. All right, let's take another fixtures. Leeds versus Nottingham Forest, Manchester United versus Tottenham. Samuel Chukwueze's side, Fulham will host Everton. Burnley versus West Ham. Arsenal versus Sunderland. Wolves versus Chelsea. We expect Liam to bounce back against Wolves. Bournemouth versus Villa. Newcastle United versus Brentford. Brighton and Hove Albion versus Crystal Palace. The biggest game, Liverpool versus Manchester City at the Anfield. Away from the English Premier League, let's move straight to La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, and of course French Ligue 1. We'll be starting with the English Premier. With La Liga. Real Madrid coach Alvaro Arbeloa and his star striker Kylian Mbappe, the man for me, leading the Ballon d'Or for me, agree on at least one thing ahead of Sunday 8 February visit to face Valencia in La Liga: the need for consistency. We just talk about, consistency with the likes of Tottenham, Manchester City. Can Real Madrid, Dami Wells, continue with this momentum under Arbeloa?
Well, the thing is that Real Madrid have really not found their momentum this season. Just like Manchester City, they've not really won games on a bounce as you would have expected from the Real Madrid side. Real Madrid are lucky that they are playing. They are lucky that they are playing in a league that is not as competitive as the EPL. You know, it is what it is, anyways. But against Valencia, I expect them to defeat Valencia. Look at what Valencia did in the Copa del Rey. You know, at the midweek. They were playing at home against a very, very poor Athletic Bilbao side, and guess what? They were drawing up until the 94th, 95th minute, just about 2 minutes to the end of the game, and they conceded. The goal was because I saw the game, you know, it was a very tricky, very, very, very easy goal. So I expect these are the games that Kylian Mbappe will pump goals. I think he's going to start part in this game. Maybe score about 3 to 4 goals. You said I said that actually. So I see Real Madrid actually defeating them. And you mentioned, Mbappe as the Ballon d'Or favorite right now. Looking at it, you know, individually, I think he's doing well. He should be the best player, or win the best player at the end of the season if he continues like this. But also, they need to win something tangible. Maybe La Liga.
I don't think they need to, because we are in World Cup year. And for me, I still believe France will do well in the World Cup. So I don't know of any other country. Nigeria is not playing, so I still believe that France will still do well. And whether you like it or not, Kylian Mbappe won this in 2018, went straight to the final in 2022, is on fire again in 2026. I still see him performing, you know, in this year's World Cup. I don't know. That's my own opinion, you know.
Well, I see him performing too, but they would have to win it, and you can't. Yeah, they are one of the favorites to win the World Cup, but you can't categorically say that. France are going to win the World Cup, because we have teams. They don't forget we have Argentina,
of course.
You know, in this same World Cup, you know, we have strong teams. There is the Spanish team is there. You know, there is the English team. There is the Portuguese team. You know, still there. So, there are two strong teams in this World Cup, and it's not sure for anybody. You know, Kylian Mbappe might still win the best. Messi in 2010 won the best player without winning the World Cup. He got knocked out.
I don't want us to talk about Lionel Messi. Just leave Lionel Messi out of it. I don't want to talk about Lionel Messi. Just leave Lionel Messi and his Ballon d'Or out of this. Let's face reality. Let's talk about 2026 Ballon d'Or. You know. No one comes close when it comes to Lionel Messi, you know. You know what we're talking about, Dami. But it is what it is, you know. But I still feel that if Mbappe gets to win maybe League or Champions League, and of course do well in the Champions League, in the World Cup, he might definitely win Ballon d'Or. at the end of the day, you know. But let's see how it goes. They are still trailing Barcelona by 1 point.
If,
And let's take a look at. Okay, go ahead.
I want to say that if Kylian Mbappe, for example, wins the Champions League, if he wins the Champions League, or maybe wins the league and the Champions League and go on to do so well in those spaces, people are going to be calling for him to win the best player, both the Ballon d'Or and the FIFA. They're going to be calling for him, unless Lionel Messi wins or gets to the final of the World Cup. Don't forget that in this hour, there is sentiment for Lionel Messi. The last time out, I saw a best player, nominations from Go.com, and guess what? Lionel Messi is there. How is Lionel Messi amongst the best players
that is why I said,
season?
That is why I said I don't want us to talk about Lionel Messi and FIFA, Lionel Messi and UEFA. Just leave Lionel Messi. Just leave him alone. Okay. Of course, that's why I don't want to talk much about Lionel Messi. You know, it has been there, and of course, he's a top player. But when it comes to all these awards, just leave him. That's why I said, Kylian Mbappe, try and win something. Go far in the World Cup. Let Lionel Messi win the World Cup again, but let's see how it goes. Of course, I know he will not carry Argentina. Argentina will carry Messi, this whether he likes it or not. Mark my word. All right, let's take a look at other fixtures. Celta Vigo versus Osasuna, Rayo Vallecano versus Oviedo, Barcelona versus Mallorca, Sevilla will use Girona, Sociedad versus Elche, Alaves versus Getafe, Bilbao versus Levante, Atletico de Madrid, of course. Ademola Lookman made his debut. He scored and of course an assist in the Copa del Rey. Let's see whether he will definitely do the same thing against the same Betis in La Liga. Valencia versus Real Madrid. Like Dami Welch rightfully said, Valencia has not been doing well. Yomar Sadiq scored an own goal, scored an equalizer for Valencia again until they conceded last goal. And of course in Italian Serie A, Verona will host Pisa, Genoa versus Napoli, Fiorentina versus Torino, Bologna versus Parma, Lecce will host Udinese, Sassuolo versus Inter, Juventus versus Lazio. In Bundesliga, Union Berlin versus Frankfurt, Eden versus Hamburger, Wolfsburg versus Dortmund, St. Pauli versus Stuttgart, Mainz versus Augsburg, Freiburg versus Werder Bremen, Mönchengladbach versus Leverkusen, Cologne versus RB Leipzig, Bayern Munich versus Hoffenheim. Let's talk about Bayern Munich. Dami Welch. They've not been doing well in the Bundesliga. In their last two games, they've been struggling, and of course, they'll be playing at the Allianz Arena against Hoffenheim. What's really happening with, Complin and his boys?
I think it's just complacency, overconfidence, so to say. They feel that they've won the league. You know, they were topping with about 10 points. I think the league should have been cut to maybe 6 to 7 points right now, with Borussia Dortmund sitting, just behind them. So the pressure is getting closer to them. Because if you look at it, Bayern Munich are not doing well in the Bundesliga, but they are going ahead and doing well in the Champions League. So that shows, it's just a mental thing. They feel, this league, we don't win them now. Because Borussia Dortmund didn't start well. They were really losing and drawing games. Bayer Leverkusen, of course, have not really been it, especially since coming back from the break this January. Bayer Leverkusen, dropped a lot of points. Leipzig, not strong enough to compete against Bayern Munich. So only Borussia Dortmund, who now have found a bit of form and are, pulling some weight. But I think Bayern Munich will sit up right now. Company will speak to his boys that, what's wrong with you? We've not won the league yet. So why are you playing like this? I think they want to push, hard against Hoffenheim and get the 3 points.
All right, Ligue 1 fixtures, Metz versus Lille. RC Lens fighting for the league this season against Paris Saint-Germain. We host Rennes. Brest versus Lorient. Nantes versus Olympique Lyon. OGC Nice versus Monaco. And of course, Hendrick has been doing well for Lyon so far. Auxerre versus Paris FC. Le Havre versus Strasbourg. Angers versus Toulouse. Paris Saint-Germain versus Olympique de Marseille. Another big game to watch out for. That is how much we can take on Sport 1 Enterprise TV 7. Endeavor to subscribe and click the notification bell to get notified of all alerts. Follow us across our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. Like, share, and engage on our content. Visit our website at www.enterprisetv.com for all the news you can use, the inclusives, and the live updates. Dami Welch has begun on the show today. Dami Welch. Dami Welch. All right. My name remains John Olasukomi. See you next time.